What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Test Your Might, the weekly video game debate show. My name is Mike, and today we will be discussing GTA 6, Kotor Remake indefinitely delayed, and a whole lot more. But first, let me introduce the panel. We got none other than the Mafia Lord himself, Stubby Stan, aka Cicero Holmes. How you doing today?
None other than the Mafia Lord himself. I'm doing great. Thank you very much for mumbling it up. I love it. Say hi to your mother for me.
All right. We have Rubber Duck as well. Justin, how you doing today? How's the duck, man?
Quack, 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 quack.
Oh, okay.
I'm sad. I'm very sad about Kotar. Yeah, I'm doing okay, though. Excited for this episode. We have a special guest. Mike, who is that?
Yes. Oh, man, it's been such a long time. We've been trying to plan this guy to get on here. One of my favorite guys I met over the internet here, and we got Jarrett from the Infinity Bros podcast. We love the Infinity Bros, and Jarrett is finally making an appearance. Jarrett, how you doing today?
I'm doing horrible, man. So I have ghosted you guys probably like 6 or 7 times. Not on purpose. It's always like, hey, man, can you make it this week? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then, like, you know, my dog ran away or whatever. Always
Abducted by aliens.
Yeah, well, this time I got COVID, and I was like, if I tell Mike I got COVID, he's gonna be like, he's ghosting me again. Like, there's no way. So I was like, I gotta come on. I can hold my cough for 3 hours because that's apparently how long it takes Cicero to log in. But
right.
I'm here ready to do this.
Shots already.
Gotta get my shots of the Mafia.
Right.
As much as you try to ghost us, Jared, just know over here at the What the Fun podcast, we're all ghost hunters. So we'll get you on here eventually.
Love that. We locked it in.
Oh, yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, listeners.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Yeah.
Who are you going to call?
Right.
All right, cool. Anyway, listeners, if you are listening to us on a podcatcher of choice, please go ahead and leave us a review. If you're on Spotify, you could leave us a 5-star on mobile only. Apple iTunes is the best way to let us know how we're doing. Please leave us a review there. Let's get all in the algorithms. We would love and appreciate you for doing that. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. We're just on the road to 100 subscribers, so we could just say, hey, youtube.com/whatthefunpod. That'd be nice to say. All right. And a little bit of housekeeping. We are doing a bunch of Lord of the Rings content over at the What the Fun show. We are reviewing every single movie, the Hobbit trilogy and the original trilogy, all up leading up to the Amazon Prime series that we are going to be reviewing as well. Big Lord of the Rings fans, me, Justin, and Joe, so that's why we're doing it. And we love the stuff. So that's housekeeping. Jarrett, I told you this before the show, and I also told Isaac, who's on the Infinity Bros as well, but I totally stole this segment from you guys, because you guys do the Infinity Gauntlet, and we do Guts. So, Guts is a series of questions that we need to know if you have the guts to answer. Do you got the guts, Jarrett?
I have the guts. I'm ready to go.
All right, cool. So, favorite video game of all time?
Yeah, so actually you can't do stuff like this to me because I'm the kind of guy that, like, it is entirely flavor of the week. You ask me 5 minutes from now, this answer will change. But I got really turned on to the Soulsborne series when I had my first son, because apparently I was not scared enough being a brand new dad that I was like, man, I got to punish myself even more by playing Dark Souls. So when Elden Ring came out, it is everything I love about that series and then some. And it's even, like, taken hold of people I didn't think would be into this stuff. Like, Isaac was playing Elden Ring for a while. So if I could design a perfect video game, 2 years ago, it would have been Dark Souls but open world. And so Elden Ring has given me that and then some. I've been enjoying the modding community. I've started a couple guilds where we help people out. And so, like, man, that game has taken off for me. Yeah, it's got to be Elden Ring.
Oh, wow. So, and it's sounds like recency bias, but I think you have a lot of evidence behind why it's your favorite. Like, yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Justin, hit him with the next one.
Of course. So Elden Ring, interesting. I played it for a little bit. But what is your favorite video game console of all time?
Yeah, so this one is interesting. I'm very much a Sony guy. My dad got us like 3 different Sony consoles, like the original PlayStation 1 when we were kids. So we had one in each room. And growing up, it was always like we always got the newest iteration of whatever PlayStation was doing. But the console that sticks with me because it just did a lot for the people around me who don't like video games. Like, this is the ultimate party experience, was busting out a Wii U. It could do everything a Wii could do. And then also I got to see some of my favorite classics, like the old Zelda games. I got to experience Wind Waker with my boys on there. And so, like, for me, the quintessential, like, if I could give somebody one video game console for anybody and be like, listen, this has exactly what you need on it, whether you're a serious gamer or my grandma, right? The Wii U is where it's at. So for me, that always holds a special place, even though I am a huge Sony fan.
Wii U, wow. So not even the Wii, just like Wii U.
Wii. It's the upgrade. It's the next level.
Wow.
Cicero is flabbergasted.
I am floored.
So flabbergasted. Are you going to be able to ask him this next question?
I'm a little verklempt. but I think I can do this. Okay. I think I can do this. All right. Jared, if you could live in a video game world, which would it be and why?
So it's got to be, for me, it's got to be the Pokemon series, and specifically Sword and Shield. And obviously, like, people have all the reasons why they love the Pokemon series. You can have this awesome pet that's traveling around you. You can put the god of the Pokemon world in a ball and carry it on your hip, right? Like, just wild stuff you can do. But the thing that keeps bringing me back to those games, and this is so bizarre because it's such a horrible mechanic, I look at that food and I'm like, I've never wanted to eat video game food so bad as watching them make whatever the heck is in that curry. And it's probably like Psyduck meat or whatever, and I'm going to end up in the hospital or the Poke Center, but dang, that food looks good. And it is just like UK, but it's the UK where, like, it's not as colonialist. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little more chill than that. And so, yeah, man, if I could just ride my bike around, like, Pokemon UK, that's where I'd be.
All right.
You hear that, Duck? He's eating Psyduck meat over there.
I'm eating Psyduck meat.
Get over there.
The jabs.
Allegedly. Allegedly, right.
Yeah.
He's going to remember this.
Right. Yes.
One jab at Cicero and one jab at the Duck. I get it.
That's right.
All right.
Well, he's already in the spirit of test your might. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, Jarrett. You do have access to the internet for this, so if multiplayer is your key for this, that's fine. Desert Island video game series, or video game. You could do a specific video game or a series in general. We'll give you that. But this is the only thing that you could play for the rest of your life because you're stuck on this desert island. What series?
So for me, it's got to be the Destiny series. I think those have such a long shelf life that once you get bored of one thing, there's a million other things to grind out. And this is something that I ran away from for like 2 years. Destiny 2 had its hooks in me right away. Mm-hmm. And I gave up on it. I threw it out the window. I said, I'm done with this. I'm tired of the grind. And then recently, friend of our podcast, and I believe friend of yours as well, Frost, a.k.a. Frostbite, has gotten me back in.
It's been on the show.
As well as Rockin' Mr. Magic plays it. So I am like all in on Destiny again. So they just have a way of sticking around where, like, it may not always be the best game on the shelf, but it's always a good game. You know what I mean? Like, they're always pumping out content, and most of it lands. Like, very few occasions where I'm like, I just don't want to play Destiny. So yeah, if I had way too much time on my hands, that's the game for me.
Okay. Well, it's been 5 minutes. What's your favorite video game of all time?
Yeah. Hey, let me talk to you about Final Fantasy Tactics.
All right, Jarrett, you had the guts to answer all those questions, so thank you so much. And listeners, let us know what you think of Jarrett's picks for those questions. Hey,
yeah, it's super weird. I actually did just get a text from my wife. She said there's people beating down our doors with signs that say the Wii U was not good.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine.
I believe it, 100%.
Yeah.
I like the Wii U, so.
It had some good games, which is why they're porting all of them to Switch. So
the Switch is better, except mine broke like a year after buying it.
Nice.
Did you send it to Nintendo?
No, because I bought it secondhand, so I didn't have a warranty on it.
You couldn't switch it out.
No.
Leave headphones out. Go.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to lock it in. I'm not fast on the mute.
Oh no! I was talking to Justin for that terrible joke.
Dad joke.
All right, it's time for what have you been playing, Duck? Justin, start us off. What have you been playing?
Well, mine's short and sweet. I finished Power Wash Simulator. I have been grinding my days through that, and I have completed it, and I am done. And I want more content. And guess what? The makers are talking to fans, and they are going to be releasing more content. So they're very friendly with the audience, which I love. They're into fixing things quickly. That's something that Apex, really intrigued me about. I feel like it was a fun ride. It was relaxing. It was chill. And it's on my Game of the Year awards choices right now. That's how good it is. And anyone that hasn't tried it, it's free on Game Pass. Load it up. Try it. It's on PC as well if you have the Ultimate. Play a level. Just enjoy it. Relax. Put your mind into it. And see if it a little speaks to you, because I believe it will. It's something that's just easy to do and fun to play. So Power Wash gets another 5-star rating from another fan. One of the few 10 out of 10s on in the interwebs for games this year so far.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I've been seeing nothing but praise about Power Wash Simulator on the tweeters.
The Steam has over so many reviews, and it's still strong on that 100%. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean we definitely lean Xbox, on our show here. Where we game on everything, but I saw the other day, so I say that because I'm about to ding Xbox a little bit. Power Wash Simulator climbed higher than Halo Infinite on the charts.
Oh no!
On Xbox, that's how popular it was.
Wow!
And yeah, going right into Game Pass, it kind of obviously bolstered it a little bit. So, Cicero, any sports ball? Stories.
I hate that I'm that predictable. It's my own fault. I have not been gaming a lot this week. I've been playing real life adulting simulator. It sucks.
I heard it's terrible.
Yeah, it sucks.
Terrible.
But I keep playing it. I also attempted to play Mega Millions Winner. I lost in that game. Yeah, I lost in that game, but someone
that's,
not too
that's
far
a little
from it.
That's a mini game in the adulting simulator.
Yeah, exactly. So not a lot of even sports ball.
Wow.
Commentary, but I did play a little bit of Madden. I did play a little bit of MLB The Show. There are games that I can turn my brain off. I want to play Power Wash Simulator, but I always want to dedicate awake time to something new, right? So I can actually give it a chance and not have it be something I'm doing when I'm winding down. But yeah, everything that Duck's saying about it really makes me intrigued about what that could possibly feel like, to just go ahead and play deck cleaner and car wash cleaner and have that be the best gaming experience of the year. So
it very well could be.
Yeah.
You guys are making me want to boot it up too.
Should.
All right. Jarrett, so you talked about Destiny. Is that what you've been playing recently?
Yeah, so I did a little bit of... I've been trying to grind back into Destiny. I got a lot of folks who are into the raiding scene, and so I wanted to get back into that. But I'm home with my kids because obviously, when we have COVID, we're all in quarantine. So we picked up Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart to play with the boys, which has been fantastic. Picked up Bug Snacks, didn't really click with it, but my son really likes it. And then Predator Hunting Ground, we played that on stream last Friday with the guys. That was pretty fun. My son keeps begging me to play the Creditor game, which he calls it. And I keep telling him, like, no, you'll deal with Predators someday, don't worry about it. But we're just getting hyped for the new Prey movie. And so we've been trying to talk about that. Mm-hmm. Dude, I am so jacked. That movie looks fantastic.
Yeah. Speaking of that movie, me and Justin are going to try to sneak in a review. Hopefully Joe can join us too, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, really excited for that movie. I've been hearing nothing but good things, so and all the test screenings are saying it's the best, since the original, so yeah. Hey, for me, I'm still chipping away at God of War, 2018, not Ragnarok. I don't have an early copy, so don't, look at me. Yeah, I never beat it. So, it's phenomenal. Just plain and simple, just the variety of combat that you can do with it, with range, with, using Atreus to shoot different types of arrows, different styles of summons as well. I just love the combat and how deep it is. And then on top of that, the story is just as good. It's incredible, really. It's really cool to kind of see just the relationship between Kratos and Atreus, and just kind of seeing how they're going to grow. And I think I already know some spoilers for the end. Some spoilers don't really ruin the experience for me, because I still enjoy the journey, and I still I still love putting the pieces together to know how I get to that point, how I get to that spoiler. So I don't care that I was spoiled on it, because this game is just climbing up the ranks of just some of my all-time favorite games. So God of War. And then pretty relevant to the conversation here, have you guys tried Multiverses?
Nope. No.
Multiverses. Okay, so free to play Warner Brothers Smash Bros. It is a ton of fun. Me and Sean, co-host here, with Test Your Might, the Multiverses is doing something different than Smash Bros. That they are really trying to push their 2v2 online multiplayer. So it is you and a friend versus another team of two. And what's really cool about it, what changes this, platform fighter, arcade fighter, Smash Bros. Is that each of the characters has abilities that work with the team. So for example, Wonder Woman's one of the characters, and her down special attack actually puts shields around both of you. So you can create a team, you and your friend can have a team that really is synchronistic and works well together, which is something that does not necessarily, that's what makes it separate from Smash Bros. Although it has literally the same buttons. It's literally the same game, but the mechanics and the ability to work with your teammate and kind of their focus on this 2v2 mode definitely separates it. And with my short time with it, I honestly think that this is going to be the best Smash Bros. Competitor, especially thinking about how many properties WB has.
Oh, I've seen Space Jam too. I know.
And and just how many fighters they can add to this, and just kind of keep the conversation going with the free DLC that you'll be getting. You can add Pennywise from It. You can add all these things. You could add so many things to this, and it would work.
But are you adding characters with depth, or are you just making skins?
That's the thing. Each of the characters, to me, at least so far, have depth. Each of them have unique abilities that make for a fun time. And that's aside from pretty much the Fire Emblem characters, that's pretty much the same thing in Smash Bros. Like there's a lot of variety with each of the characters in Smash Bros as well. And so like with the amount of IPs that WB has, I mean, you could add Neo in this game. Like you could add so many things, and I think that it's so fun, and the fact that it's free play, it's great. So I definitely recommend trying it. They need to add more levels. They only have 4 levels right now.
Like stages.
Stages, yeah, sorry, stages, and the Themyscira one has 2 versions to it. So like, you could maybe count 5, but other than that, like they do need to add more stages to it. But yeah, super cool. I definitely recommend it. It's free. It's 5 GB download, so it's a game.
I'm holding out for the day that they add the Studio Ghibli characters in there, because Warner Bros. Owns that.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, they could.
I'd be all in on that.
They could. What's really cool is that they have the Iron Giant in there. And he is bigger than everybody else, but like he's also slower, and he's also more focused on range, and like he's like that he fits despite his stature in the game. It's pretty wild. Yeah, I definitely recommend it.
I saw some cool videos of 2 people playing as the Iron Giant combining into one abomination. And fighting the other 2 people, and that's something that is just unique to that for sure, because
I'm all about
Smash Brothers never had any kind of 2 characters becoming one and Super Saiyan their way to victory. Yeah,
right.
That was really cool.
I mean, it has LeBron James in the game. Come on now. You know, it's crazy. It's wild.
I know.
But
I've
anyway.
seen Space Jam too.
Yeah. LeBron's moves in that
LeBron
game.
James.
LeBron's James's moves.
He's actually bronze.
Yeah. He's the Iron Bronze Giant.
He is the Bronze James. LeBron's.
His moves in that are so like, it's like one of them is just like a dunk.
Oh man!
He just like jumps from high and just dunks on you.
Listen,
just like
posterizes.
posterizes.
You guys need to play Shaq Fu.
Oh
yeah.
I don't need to play Shaq Fu. I lived that growing up. I loved Shaq Fu.
Honestly, they should have put Tiger Woods in it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness! All right, check out last week's episode for that debate.
There you go.
All right.
That's a callback.
When are we getting a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar video game?
Yes.
Riddle me this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Cicero. Wasn't Kareem one of the early like video games? Didn't he have one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Kareem wasn't. So the first,
was there a big man? Oh,
a big man,
like a center focused video game.
I mean, not really.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of just like Brett Favre's N64 game or something like that. Brett Favre.
You're thinking of QB Vision and Madden.
Yeah, there you go.
That was an underrated mechanic in my opinion.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
No way.
So QB Vision in a way is coming back in Madden 23. I've played the beta. It is really good. That's wild. It is much more intuitive and a not a gimmick at all, like it was in the previous iteration.
I remember everybody would choose Peyton Manning because his QB
Vision. Cone was the entire.
It was obtuse for sure.
And that wasn't QB Vision like the year? Wasn't it 06?
Yeah, it was 06 because I had the strategy guide for it.
That's hilarious. The Madden strategy guide. I love that.
It was the worst because in 04 and 05, Mike Vick was so good. And then in 06 they added quarterback vision and his was like this much.
Line.
It was like just a line and he was just bad. Okay, let's get into the news. Jarrett, we're going to start with you because you kind of are at least on this panel here, Sony guy. So KOTOR Remake, made by Aspire, or was going to be made by Aspire, it is in shambles. It has been delayed indefinitely. And unfortunately, there have been some layoffs or some people quitting as well. And so this is a report by Jason Schreier from Bloomberg. It says, a hotly anticipated new Star Wars game is in serious trouble, according to people familiar with the project. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, a remake of the 2003 role-playing game, is delayed indefinitely as developers at Austin, Texas-based Aspire Media try to figure out what comes next. Aspire also abruptly fired the game's art director and design director this month. Yeah, many rumblings over the internet, other podcasts that I've been listening to. People don't believe that this will ever be coming out. Jared, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is dead in the water. And it comes at such a weird time because Star Wars hype, in spite of whatever the heck happened with Boba Fett, has been at an all-time high. And this is one of those games that's so, like, quintessentially like Star Wars. Like, everybody knows about Knights of the Old Republic. It's one of those things that, like, people will find any way to try to make this canon in the new Disney, like, expanded universe. And the fact that, like, they spun their wheels on this, obviously there were issues from the beginning, and then now seemingly dead in the water. I doubt it's coming back from this, is a big hit. Now, that being said, it's softened a little bit by the new Jedi Fallen Order getting announced and some of the stuff that we've seen out of that, but man, this is crushing. This sucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
I definitely agree. I know, coming from Cicero and myself, we loved KOTOR very much. So let's take a moment of silence really quick here, just for KOTOR not going to be coming up. Okay. All right. We do have lots of other. I think there's like 8 other games that are Star Wars related that are in the making or in production. We do have a lot of content, not including shows, coming. So yes, KOTOR is delayed in my mind. Sure. If it comes out, I'm sure someone will pick it up. There's a huge fan base. Someone will, I'm sure, in the future do it. We've waited long already. We can continue to wait as long as it's a good product that when it eventually comes out, if it does. If not, we have lots of content to keep us rolling from the duck over here.
I got 3 words for you. Duke Nukem forever.
Exactly.
This was a game that was supposed to come out, and eventually it did. Eventually it saw the light of day, but by the time it did, it was so far gone and it was so irrelevant that it had no choice but to be awful, right? And it was much worse than anybody would have even anticipated it being. I mean, so much so that I think it effectively killed whatever was the Duke Nukem franchise. And it's just kind of gone. I don't think that a KOTOR, if it finally ever releases, right? Like, I think this thing is now dead probably through this console generation and into whatever comes next, right? If it does see the light of day, it will be so very different from whatever we thought this was going to be, that it may not even be KOTOR in the end of the day, which actually may not be a bad thing. Like, that's probably part of the problem. It's like, well, we've got this game. If you own Game Pass, if you've got a Game Pass subscription, you can play a up-res version of this game already. If I'm going to create a new version of this game, what can I do that's materially different while still maintaining the identity that is KOTOR to entice people to come and play this game versus a game that they don't have to spend any additional money on?
We've talked about this too with like 1313 that was supposed to come out
however
ago.
Exactly.
And the bones of that is sort of what gave us Fallen
Order.
Right. So, like, maybe not the worst thing, and you're right in that, like, there is the up-res version already. Give us some new Star Wars stories.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I believe this studio was mainly for, like, remakes and bringing things up to standards nowadays.
Sure.
So I don't see why they didn't just remake the original or reboot the original with the same just characters and story, just up-res it, bring it up to specs nowadays. They could still do that, and I'm sure fans would like it just visually. The game itself, going back and playing, is very rough. It's hard to do.
Yes.
It's different than what we are used to nowadays. But that would give them some, some way of coming out of this and not looking like they're just giving up. But I doubt it. I do.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think that in order for them to do anything with this game, they would have to do with it like, the Mass Effect remake, right? The Mass Effect trilogy remake that we got, where they, they just brought everything back up to snuff. And, in order to do that, it would only make sense to take KOTOR and KOTOR 2 and throw them together in a package and say, here are the KOTOR stories. But there's, they were vastly different development teams. The stories were vastly, there's a lot of stuff there. And to try and make that a cohesive unit would be interesting. What would be fun would be to see the original BioWare team, the doctor and the other dude, to get together and maybe kind of reconcile and help do something, do something great. But this is not what we're talking about. There is not a casual undertaking. This is something that they've got to, this is going to be work. And I just don't see that coming. I don't see that happening.
In this particular project, handing it off to just another developer has its problems as well, because I mean, you have to have Disney involved. You also are going to have Sony involved, because Sony does have money in this thing. I mean, clearly it was at their state of play, so they're not just going to let, the Knights of the Old Republic, IP, this remake, go over to EA or anything like that. But yeah, I echo the sentiment that Justin brought up, is that Aspyr was, they were a port studio. They would bring games over to iOS or PC, and this just really seemed like, a really good stab, a really good thing to have them take their first stab at, as far as a full-fledged video game, development. But man, maybe they were just a little bit in over their heads with this type of thing. And obviously the creative director was fired, so some creative differences of Justin's right. I tried playing KOTOR maybe last year or a couple years ago, and I just stopped because it's RTS combat, and that is just not what I'm looking for in 2022, so obviously this was a ground up remake with potentially 3D action gameplay, but still the KOTOR. So that's just a lot of work. And for Aspyr, who's just generally a team that ports things over to different platforms, who knows if they were kind of up for the task. But all right, GTA 6 news up next, guys. Jason Schreier had a busy week. Let's just be clear here. So thanks, Jason, for doing that reporting. He's not gonna ever listen to this, but anyway, he did report here that I've reached my free article limit for Bloomberg, by the way.
Oh, well. he did report that in the summer of 2020 that Rockstar started to shelve game modes that they had, but they also decided that they were going to kind of quell their quote unquote frat boy mentality that they had in their studio, and also make diversity a big push at the studio. And they've kind of cleaned house and announced this week, or via Jason Schreier, that Grand Theft Auto 6, the game that we will see eventually at some point, will have a Latina lead character for the very first time.
Yeah. Hearing reports that it's going to be kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde type deal, like a 2-person, type situation. Jared, did you ever get into GTA 5? Are you excited for GTA 6 and some of this news here?
Yeah, I played a little bit of San Andreas. I played Vice City. I never got into GTA 5. I followed sort of the story of it. I watched plenty of other people stream it, and so I get the gist of it. And I actually really like the way they handled that one, where there wasn't a main protagonist. You sort of bounced between the 3 different main characters. And I think that's a brilliant way to do it. And I think for something like this, right, like we talk about diversity in video games, and those early GTA games were definitely that, right? Like the way that they talked about war, and you had a lot of ethnic and minority communities involved. And so having the next step of like a female protagonist in this, even if it's just 1/3 of the main party, is pretty cool to see. I haven't seen as much news about this as much as the backlash of this, where, angry internet nerds are typing like, this ruined GTA for me, blah, blah, blah. What's next? They don't have strip clubs, and I'm like, chill out, guys. Like, this is the same dudes who are, typing at the Infinity Bros all the time, like, you guys are into the MCU and blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, like, chill out, nice. For one. And second, nice. Like, it's still Rockstar, right? Like, at the end of the day, they fix some problems that they had, and they just make a better game out of it. And I don't understand why that's such a big deal. Like, you have a million games where the main character is a male. You can't have one game where, maybe one of the 3 characters is a lady. Like, is it really the end of the world?
No, but there have been 6 games. There's 6 games that have women characters that have come out in the last 5 years. So,
right. God forbid.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Horizon was horrible.
Right. Exactly. And Tomb Raider. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Justin, GTA 6.
This does not faze me. I'm a huge fan of the story of Bonnie and Clyde.
Huge story of the fan.
Yeah, story of the fan of Bonnie and Clyde. I feel like this is an interesting take. If there's only 2, sure, that's fine. I was also a big fan of the 3-person single-player narrative. I've 100%ed it 3 times on different systems or different types, and I enjoyed it each time.
You're my hero, man.
All the way. I loved it.
I watched like half of that gameplay, like just like hanging out at his house.
Hardcore. Yeah, one of them was entirely first person, and it was great. Really wish it was VR, but
I remember when that first person up. So like, all right,
I was hyped.
Little tangent here. Little tangent.
Okay.
Justin, he used to have the smallest room in the world.
Okay.
But he also had the biggest TV in the world in that room. It was like this 70-inch TV that covered half the room.
I know, it was so hard.
And so I remember bringing my Xbox over, and he's playing GTA 5, and the first person mode just came out, and like I'm watching him play on that big screen. I'm over in my corner playing on his Sony 3D PlayStation TV, nice. down over there playing some NHL, just practicing. And he's having a blast.
Yeah,
that's what
it doesn't bother me at all. I'm perfectly fine with it. I've played many games with female protagonists, and I love them just as much, if not a little more, because it shows that there's diversity across all these games, and I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. One of the other things I heard about this leak was they're going to focus on one city and then add cities over time or something like that, which I'm down for as well. That sounds like they're really going to go in depth and in detail, which Rockstar always does with that city, and then add more for the online content or whatever, and keep it rolling with single player content. I love it. When I'm like 86 years old, I'll be able to play it, and I don't think there will be many other games before then that have female protagonists, so I'm perfectly fine with everything. Happy we're getting some news, even though it's 80 years early.
80 years early.
Latina protagonists. It means I get to look at video game butts. Am I right? Look, man.
The polygons are coming back, Cicero.
Right.
Finally.
yeah, dude, if you got a problem with this, that's not your problem, right?
Yeah.
Like if you've taken the time, you've read this news, and your first thought was, I need to yell on the internet about it.
The internet needs to hear about this right now.
Right? Yeah. Yes. Then,
Oh my goodness.
that is probably not the problem for which you are crying out for help. But I mean, this is a great story, right? Like it's great that they're actually doing that. All of that stuff. All of that stuff is wonderful. What I'm really going to be curious about is how the people over at Rockstar are going to change gaming again, right? Like, how are they going to innovate in a way that both seems like completely transformative, but also very obvious, right? Like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Why hasn't this been done before? And they seem to figure out a way to do that every single time, with lots of games that they have, but the primary game that they have is Grand Theft Auto. But just from the physics engine that they debuted in Rockstar Table Tennis, that became Grand Theft Auto 4, to the multiple protagonists in GTA 5. I mean, you guys are assuming that there are going to be multiple protagonists. I will not make that assumption, right? We've gotten a game since GTA 5 from Rockstar where we only played as one person.
Well, that's just the rumor, the Bonnie and Clyde thing. That's part of the rumor.
Well,
so.
I mean, she could be part of a Bonnie and Clyde type of relationship, but we only play as her.
Yeah, you never know.
So like, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people are making that assumption that because they did this thing that was transformative in GTA 5, that you believe that they would build on that in the next game. But I don't know. I just know that my expectation is that they're going to do something I could not even imagine was possible. And it's going to feel like a gimmick when you hear about it, but then you play it and you're like, oh man, like this is amazing. This is amazing.
No, I hear you on that.
Yeah. Can't wait to play it when I'm 25 years old, because I will remain perpetually 25 years old when games and movies and products release. So there you go.
Star Wars.
Yes.
Okay. It's time for the namesake. Test your might.
Spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti.
Got your hoods up?
Yes.
Hold on. Anime protagonist. I gotta turn my hat backwards.
Right.
It's time to
do. Also, like, are the people in GTA really protagonists? All right. Anyway, so test your might. Right? All right. First debate topic of this evening. GTA 6 will have the series' first female lead protagonist. And so your task, what video game female character would fit the best into the franchise? This is an already established female character in video games. We cannot create a new one. Somebody has to already exist. So, Jared, you're our guest, so you get to decide who goes first.
I mean, I gotta take this one. I gotta start it off strong.
Oh, Jared, come on now.
Loosen up, ready to go. All right. I don't know if you guys play League of Legends. I hope you guys at least Arcane, because that was phenomenal. But Vi from League of Legends is the most, like, take no crap from anybody, like, I'll let my fist do the talking, go-getter I've ever seen. And so, like, if nothing else screams GTA 6, it's, like, that kind of woman who just, like, nobody else can tell her business. She knows what's up.
And how do you spell Vi?
VI.
VI. Okay, I was close. Just added an E at the end. Okay, so Vi from League of Legends takes no BS from you, so I like it. Okay. Jarrett, you still get to decide the order. Who's going to go next?
Let's go Cicero.
All
right. So I'm trying to find the right name, but because I keep forgetting her name. But
you're talking about the other Bandicoot from Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I forget her name all the time too.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we're talking a GTA game, you've got to have. So yes, we want somebody who is going to be able to kick butt in all situations, but we also want someone like you spend a lot of time not doing that, right? Like you spend a lot of time driving around and being in the world and right, like, and just kind of existing in this kind of satirical, almost absurdist version of our world, right? Of the United States or wherever they happen to be having this particular group. But this character, I think, could fit right in. She could fit right in any situation, and some people would test her, but you realize those people are idiots. But she is the one and only Jack from Mass Effect 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I am in the middle of Mass Effect 2, so I kind of know where you're coming from there. Justin, you are the anchor to said debate. Finish it out.
So you don't know how tough, fans, listeners, you don't know how tough it is listening to these panelists describe their character and hoping and praying they don't pick yours. But Cicero, you almost described mine to the T. And so did Jarrett. I was like, oh no, someone is going to pick my character. And lo and behold, they did not. And the reason why is because I don't think, I know Cicero has played this game, but I don't think anyone else has, possibly Jer the Bear. But I know Mike hasn't. And this person was created by none other than the goddess Amy Hennig. And this was from a game that I played as a side story to one of my favorite franchises of all time. And that character is Chloe Fraser from the Uncharted Lost Legacy game. This is someone who is witty, who is smart, who is tough with guns and tough with her fists. Someone like Lara Croft, but not so much tomb raiding, more in the real world. And I feel like the open world elements that she has dealt with and been through would be a perfect fit for this Australian woman to be right into that game and play that role to a T. And I think she could be a little gangster. I think she could. I really feel like it. She's got those jokes. She's got that wit. Even when it comes, she takes command in Uncharted 2 with that love letter to Nathan Drake. She takes command. She takes the role, the lead, right from him, from someone that we know as the lead. So I feel like Amy Hennig did create this character
Amy
great.
Hennig.
Chloe Fraser from Uncharted Lost Legacy is going to win this debate for sure.
All right, Jarrett, rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean, Chloe Fraser is great. I don't think that's anything that comes to anybody's mind at first thought of this, but I guess I can see it. And Jack, sure, I'll give you that one. But at the end of the day, you need star power, man. You need you need like something extra. And imagine no one better than probably the woman of the year, who's in absolutely everything. Haley Steinfeld voicing Vi is like absolute knockout of the park. You bring her into Rockstar, games are gonna fly off the shelves.
I'm going to jump in here. Because I want to take a swing at Jared Bear here because
all right.
He said star power, and that was I played Guitar Hero a lot growing up, so I knew where he was coming from with this. But we are not playing Saints Row, sir. We are playing GTA. There are no superpowers with these characters. There are no leagues of legends in this character. This needs to be a real human character without any superpowers in your mind to play this role. Cicero, you can go ahead with your smack.
Oh, well, all right. Well, thank you. So I will continue the smack, but, Jared, sometimes
Please.
A game or a property needs a star to elevate it, right? Sometimes a franchise or a property makes stars, right? Nobody knew who any of the people were in GTA 5 before they were in GTA 5. But then Franklin and Michael and Trevor became household names because of their time in GTA 5. So I don't need stars. I don't need people on the marquee. The marquee is going to be full with GTA 6 already up there. I don't need any other names on there besides that R, that star, and those 3 letters and that Roman numeral. So thanks for the stars, but save them for where they're actually needed. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing that, I appreciate your character, Vi. That's, it's awesome. You can have, a beautiful woman who's really funny and charismatic and is all of those things. That's great.
Or you can have a side character from Mass Effect 2 that no one remembers.
Right, exactly. So you could have a side character from Mass Effect 2 because, right, you're playing the character. You don't need someone that's super witty. All that stuff is coming to you. Your character doesn't need to have a huge personality. Your character just needs to be a vessel for everybody's personality to play off of, not to overpower them, not to overshoot them. So that is what Jack is great about. And also, sure, we're going and we're playing GTA 6 and we're doing all this stuff and we're going to love our character. But you got to remember, as Mike already said, are they protagonists? We're not really sure if they're protagonists. The character I chose, Jack, is discovered in that side quest in a prison. She's a felon already, right? She fits right into the world of Grand Theft Auto 6. So she's gonna have all the tats. She fits in perfectly, and she can be a vessel for all the nonsense that people are gonna say, and they know she won't take no guff.
Cicero, I got that little jab you threw at me with that witty statement. I appreciate that. I'm going to throw it back at you now because we're not playing Cyberpunk. We're playing GTA. Just like Jared said with League of Legends and Star Power, this isn't Saints Row. This isn't Gats out of HE double hockey sticks. This is GTA.
You can say hell.
This is a human that we are playing. Someone that we can relate to and feel the emotions of. Sure, your character has those great skills that make her possibly good or evil, but mine is human. Mine is someone that we can relate to a T, because it's someone who is very powerful in her own head. She's witty, she can deal with crap, and she can be evil if you want her to be. She can do some terrible stuff. She's very sexually forward, and that's something GTA is very proud of putting on all their posters and diagrams and all their stuff, making sure that we know that it's an M game. So I feel like Chloe is just going to beat both of these guys out of the water. And Uncharted, was a great first appearance of her. You saw her, you didn't know her, you knew Drake. And this was her star route. This was her way of getting into our heads. And this would only further that, because we all love that extra little bonus story of Uncharted, and we know her already. Mic drop.
Yeah, Justin destroyed you guys in this one. I'm giving it to him. I think
you're wrong.
I think he had too many good points about the no superpowers, cyberpunk.
You guys, okay,
reality.
give me 2 seconds. You guys know Vi doesn't have superpowers, right?
Why'd you say
and star powers? Because Haley Steinfeld is a movie star who plays the voice of Vi.
Yes.
She doesn't.
I don't actually, but I still like Justin's argument overall.
That was the argument that
Cicero was feeling me. I was like, what is he saying?
Well, to be fair, most League of Legends legends have abilities for the most part.
That's true. She just has these gauntlets she puts on.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, if you don't agree with Mike's adjudication out there in Test Your Might land, let him know. Let him know.
It's all good.
Destroy him on Twitter. It is at Max Mosier 76.
Max.
That was an uphill battle
friend of the show.
Because Mike has never played that game or any of the Uncharted.
That game is
but
fantastic.
I know of her. So. I am the adjudicator, and you guys have two other debates to try to win.
Right.
Adjudicator.
Yes.
All right. So, Stray. Justin's played it.
Meow.
Meow. You guys, this is a very, very cool thing that's happening. There are so many mods going into the PC version, basically replacing the titular character Stray, and with like things like Garfield, the Doom helmet was put on, Spyro the dragon was in there, so those two animals, Garfield and Spyro, can't use. But what already established animal character from a video game franchise would make the best Stray mod? So I'm going winners out here. So Justin, you get the choice. Who's going first? What do you got?
I'm going first.
Got some go-getters here.
Love that confidence.
I'm taking the power. I'm going to roll a d20. Here we go.
All right.
So, Stray, phenomenal cat game. Possibly a game of the year contender for a lot of people. It's a great game. Great story, great narrative. And it stays true to cats, and cat lovers love it more, which is, that's normal. So I'm going to give them the other half of that coin. I'm going to switch it up and make it a dog game. And I'm using dog meat from the Fallout universe. The bear is upset over there. I feel like flipping that coin over and giving the dog lovers what they want is going to win.
That's why he went first.
A lot. I feel like this, or I know that this is going to be a great choice, because not everyone's a cat person. There's that other side. That dog person is huge. So, dog meat, Fallout universe.
Justin, who's second?
I'm going to go with, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice and let Cicero go next.
Look at that. He can do some time to think.
Yeah. All right, Cicero.
So some people are cat people, some people are dog people. But what about those people that are not cat people or dog people? You need another animal for them to like tie their hopes and their dreams and all their joy into. So I, of course, am picking Earthworm Jim from the titular game
Stretch.
Earthworm Jim.
Is that an animal?
He's an earthworm.
He's an earthworm.
Okay, sure. All right.
I am judge, and I will allow it. It's because it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
And knowing Cicero, he might win this one. Jarrett, you're next.
Do I just bow out gracefully now, or do we gotta go through this? Because Earthworm Jim is phenomenal. No, I actually had a number 2 prepared. Red 13 from Final Fantasy VII. Kick it up a notch, man. Like, this guy is all action. He looks sweet. If you're tired of the cutesy mods, if you're tired of little worms crawling across your screen or puppy dogs or something fun, get something a little edgy. A wolf tiger thing with its tail on fire. I mean, what's better than that, right?
You said Red 13?
Red 13.
Yeah, Red 13.
Okay.
Yeah, from
he's a wolf tiger?
Something like that.
He's an experiment.
It's a red lion or wolf-like beast.
Yeah. I gotta stop picking Sony games because, like, I keep forgetting Mike is the judge. He's never heard of Final Fantasy.
I've never heard of Final Fantasy. Did you just say that sentence? And I have played several hours of Final Fantasy VII. So,
all right. So I'm gonna rebuttal.
Hey, you will rebuttal when I say I want to hear more about Earthworm Jim. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
I do too, kind of, because I want to see how Cicero takes this. But I'm going to talk about dog meat a little bit. It's a dog, just like Stray is a cat. Cool. Right? There's no special abilities. There's no I'm walking on two legs as a worm. There's no I'm a lion/beast with a flaming tail. Beast thing. This is a dog. Okay, this is just going to be a dog with a backpack, just like Stray is a cat with a backpack. This is going to be a narrative-driven experience with a dog instead of a cat that is going about his day, doing dogsy cute things, starting off as a puppy, moving his way into a full-bred German Shepherd, which I think is one of the best dogs to put in there because visually, he's got that furiosity, the word I love to use. He's got that kind of motif, that stance that dog lovers love. That run and jump and grab things, that I'm going to get stuff done, but I'm still a dog doing cutesy things. I just don't see that going wrong. Stray 2, the Puppy Lovers Edition, whatever. It's still a stray dog. It's the same thing, but it's a dog with a new storyline. It's good.
Cicero.
All right, Earthworm Jim, let's go.
Listen, the early birds get the worms, but if that worm is in a anthropomorphic, an anthropomorphic spacesuit, you don't get that worm.
Yeah.
But that worm gets to go on a journey, and as you sit and look at the journey of this earthworm through Stray, there are plenty of things that you could do just replacing the cat with the earthworm. Dog meat is awesome, but he doesn't have sound effects. Earthworm Jim has sound effects, so you could, dog meat kind of barks, bark, 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 bark. But Earthworm Jim's, he's got, hey, or yippee, right? So you could use any of those as things that the earthworm could say. It's a typical, I hear earthworms all the time, yippee, all the time. It is incredible. And we all know what an earthworm sounds like, but also because it's Earthworm Jim, in the moments where in Stray, the cat is fighting back, Earthworm Jim can fight back with his gun. So, so now it's not going to look really strange with dog meat in this goofy mod and you don't have anything. Earthworm Jim's, he's already got the equipment. He's got the tools and the talent, right? And then, look at, you also got to think future forward, right? Think about all of the domesticated earthworm sales that are going to skyrocket after this mod goes crazy.
Can I hear about the beast, please?
Jared, let's get some curiosity from you.
When I get the phone call, or when I have to call the ambulance and they're like, "Sir, what's the matter?" and I'm gonna be like, "Yes, COVID is killing me, but so is Cicero right now." Earthworm sales. So dog meat, cool, love it. It's just another dog, sure. I love that you tried to sell us on how cute he is and then immediately said, but he's a German Shepherd, so he's also scary. So I think we should pick a lane there.
Well, I said puppy at first. Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about is I've played enough modded Skyrim to understand that there are just some models that you don't want to put on a four-legged beast. And Earthworm Jim scrambling around on all fours is not something I'm here for right now. However, take a look at the scenes and all the different cutscenes that go into Stray. Take a look at this environment and tell me that doesn't look like Midgar from the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, it is a perfect slot in. You could hold these two side by side and they would say, you know what? That one just makes sense. Put Red 13 in there and I would think I'm playing just a side story from Final Fantasy VII. It works too well.
Okay.
All right, Justin. One more sentence. You may choose if it's a, kill your opponent type of sentence or to bolster your argument. One more sentence. Go.
Both of my other panelists chose animals, quotations, that will fundamentally change the gameplay of Stray, and dog meat is always going to be cute, regardless to how powerful he is.
Cicero, one more sentence. Ands are allowed.
All right. What about semicolons?
No, that could be forever. That could be forever. I will allow one comma and.
Oh, you will allow one comma and in my quiver. All right. Red 13 has no good sound effects. And, or and, right? No, it's and.
Yeah, you can just
Earthworm Jim would be walking on two legs in this mod because he's so small. It works perfectly in this game. Perfect.
Perfect. Street Fighter 2. Okay. Jarrett, you got one more sentence.
Do you want Jankworm Jim or another German Shepherd that probably has 1 million mods?
Ooh. He changed it to a question. I enjoy it. You guys, Justin, you almost sold me on that gameplay thing, which I knew you were going to go there because you're the only one that has played Stray out of all of us. So I knew you were going to go there. I do agree. Earthworm Jim and Red 13 probably don't fit in said gameplay. However, Jared's point of Midgar kind of sliding in with the remake there, I think actually works for me. So I'm giving it to Jared for this one here. Cicero,
he said,
you gotta lay off the caffeine, my friend.
Guns in Stray? That's fundamentally changing the gameplay.
No, there are. You'll get there.
When I get my phone call about, earthworms selling out everywhere around me, I'll make sure I run out and get some.
It'll be too late.
Yeah.
It'll be
Cicero,
too late.
Whatever you took before you got on this podcast, I think will cure my COVID. So I need it, brother.
I'll wait for Wario.
I'll let you know after this is over.
Well, it was the tacos, right? He dropped the taco sauce.
It was the tacos.
The taco sauce. Yeah.
What was that? What's that Twitter guy that does all the? It's Wario64. When he starts letting me know about
deals.
Earthworms, I'll know.
Yeah,
but
he will. All right, Cicero, you haven't gotten the chance to start yet, and you still haven't. So, Jarrett, your winner's out. You get to choose who goes first in this next one, and Black Panther is getting his own video game with EA set to be the developer. What developer should have gotten a Black Panther project instead?
I'm going to give this one to Cicero to start out with.
All right, Cicero's first.
Give you your chance in the sun.
All right. I want to see if I was right about this. So I would, since it is EA, I would go with a now defunct studio from EA, but if they can find the remnants, this is the studio that made the Fight Night series. But in addition to making the Fight Night series, they also made Def Jam Vendetta, and that is EA Vancouver. So if we can get the guys that are responsible, maybe the UFC guys, to get it together, or if I can use just EA Vancouver, that's who I'm going with, EA Vancouver.
So you are sticking with EA.
I'm sticking with EA.
Okay. You didn't have to. Just letting you know.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Who's next? Jarrett.
Go ahead, Justin.
All right. I'm going to go with my backup. I want to leave this other one up there because I feel like that's the one Mike was thinking of that I'm gonna pick, but it's not.
I was thinking none of them. So
okay, all right. I'm gonna go with something that I don't get much time to play, but has gotten great reviews from a lot of the games, or almost all the games that they've made recently, and that's gonna be Square Enix Europe. That's gonna basically be the Eidos Montreal station there. That, you know, they made Guardians of the Galaxy, they've made Deus Ex, they made Thief. Lots of these games are in the vein of great narrative, great storytelling, great action, and great worlds. So I feel like they would be the good pick.
Okay, so you're giving the Avengers developer another MCU property. Go ahead. Or not necessarily MCU, just Marvel. Yeah. Go ahead, Jarrett.
I should have gone ahead of you because that was also mine. But I did come with backups. I do think EA is the one to handle this, but I think via Respawn. I think Respawn did such a fantastic job with Jedi Fallen Order, and I think they've continued to put out just hit after hit after hit. And I think it's, you know, we talked about it earlier, it's one of those studios that they listen to their audience and they allow people and fans to input into what they want to see in these games. And if there's one thing we know about Black Panther, it's that the community and the fandom behind this is a force to be reckoned with, right? Like, people loved that movie and continue to champion the next movie long after Chadwick Boseman is gone, and very strong opinions. And so I think you need a developer that listens to that fan base.
Cicero, rebuttal.
You know, I think these guys made really great choices, and drew from recent experience with games that are similar to Black Panther, in so much that they are either superhero games or games where you're like, you're like, oh yeah, I can see what they could do with a Black Panther game because of these other licensed games that they've done. But my studio is a little bit different. I'm sure they've taken licenses, but they really were given creative freedom to kind of do whatever they wanted to do with those. And one thing that I thought EA Vancouver did great was like hand-to-hand combat, right? Like in ways that made you feel like you were pushing buttons, but you were still throwing punches. You were still landing kicks, and you were doing all those things, and it got those things right really well. And that's one thing that's great about Black Panther. That's kind of different from many of the other games that we're talking about, is that there isn't the range stuff. There aren't the powers, right? The powers are agility, but it's still about a lot of hand-to-hand combat. It's not about throwing projectiles, and that's something that you're really going to get from something that is led from EA Vancouver, from guys that are used to doing hand-to-hand combat stuff. Plus, this would give them a chance to do something even more broad and more fantastic than the studio had been used to. And I think that he could draw from lots of their other their cousins in the publisher space, like Respawn, to really bridge that gap and blend that stuff in. But I think they did the fighting aspects better than anybody else.
Justin.
All right, so you talk about hand to fists, cuffs, hit
right.
fists to cuffs.
Yes. Maybe punch you.
Let's talk about Tomb Raider.
The hand? What?
Tomb Raider has fighting in it, gunplay, everything you need from that same element, that same vein. You've got Thief, which is one of the close quarters, hand-to-hand combat you get. And not only that, they also have one of the key elements we know about this new game coming out, Black Panther, is going to be that it's open world, right? So this open world is a new venture, not so much for Square Enix Europe, though. They've got the entire Just Cause franchise, right? They've dabbled in that open world element. A lot of their games are story driven, narrative, linear experiences, but that just adds to the fuel to their fire. Add that to the future events they're gonna make. Look at open world and the depth of these other games that we love. Think of Guardians of the Galaxy open world, right? That was one of their biggest MCU properties over the last, decade, right? You've got raving reviews. It was like Cicero, it was one of your best games of the year. And
absolutely. It's
quoted multiple times. I want to go play it. I want to play it, But it's also got the narrative element that you need. And I think I feel like the icing on the cake of this is the fact that they have Deus Ex in their back pocket. Wakanda is known for vibranium, and vibranium creates new tech. New tech is very similar to Deus Ex and upgrades. And I feel
Deus Ex and new tech, they rhyme.
Yeah. Look at that. It's perfect. It's a match made in heaven, some would say.
Bars.
Square Enix Europe, future tech, Wakanda forever.
Jared, Respawn.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are all making good points. Like, I definitely know that Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a $9 game right now, is a household name. And so I would trust Black Panther and that company. We also know how much of a smash hit Marvel's Avengers was. Everybody loved it at launch. Not buggy at all. Fantastic game. Or we could give it to the people who do
sarcasm.
Or we could give it to the people that do FIFA, NHL 2022, all good choices. Or maybe, just maybe, you have one of the most critically acclaimed battle royales of all time, Apex Legends, one that completely changed the game on battle royales, and one that people are still trying to emulate to this day. Fortnite, the biggest game in history right now, is trying to copy this studio. You have one of the most in-demand Star Wars games from this developer. How could you not look at Respawn and say, listen, you guys know how to do this. Take the Black Panther game.
Name one open world game that your company has made. One open world experience.
Name one good open world company or game that your
Just
company has
Cause
made.
is renowned as being a good experience. And that is huge open worlds with crazy things you can do in them. You've got that. I know that Mike's just going to say you all lose. Rocksteady was the good answer. Give it to the Batman series.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, this is something that Square Enix knows. This is something that they're comfortable doing and blowing it up to proportion. I feel like it would be a good pick. And I'm a huge fan of Respawn, so that's hard for me to say.
If we had this question back before Spider-Man came out, the answer would be Rocksteady, right? Give Rocksteady the Spider-Man game because Rocksteady made the Batman game and it made me feel like I was Batman. But when Insomniac made the Spider-Man game, it became obvious that they've spent their career kind of making this game in they had done an alpha in Infamous, and then they had done a beta in Sunset Overdrive, and then gave us Marvel Spider-Man. And you can see all of that DNA. Why I say EA Vancouver and why that makes the most sense is because you'd be able to see the DNA from the Fight Night games where there was all that hand-to-hand combat, to the Def Jam Vendetta where there was the hand-to-hand combat and it was a little bit over the top, and just a natural evolution going forward into what is the combat. And no, they don't have a lot of experience with narrative games in the same way that Respawn does now with Jedi Fallen Order, or the Square Enix in Europe has with their litany of games. But the DNA is there. They've gone through the evolutions, and wouldn't it be better to see a company come up and do something great with everything that they had, as opposed to just going to somebody and expecting them to just reskin some version of a package that they've already had, they've made before?
I disagree, Cicero. I feel like that their lane is sports games. Their lane is, they've stepped out of line a few times with Star Wars Battlefront. They've stepped out of line a few times with other games like SSX, which is still sports in a way. But I feel like Vancouver is just not the right fit for something that we love so much. The MCU deserves someone that knows where, the roots. Not where you think you can go, but where we know they've been and where they can expand upon that. That's why I don't even think that's a debate with Vancouver. So.
I mean, Insomniac didn't have any of that. Right? Like if you're going to use that logic, then you try and figure out a way to poach the guys from Rocksteady to come and make a Marvel game.
You're fighting for Vancouver.
No, exactly. But my point is Insomniac didn't have any of that criteria that you're talking about before they made the Spider-Man game. Yeah. And now that they have, they've got all of that. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that EA Vancouver is showing that same potential the same way that Insomniac did prior to them getting Spider-Man.
I just think the risk is a bit higher. Sony makes great gameplay.
But you don't get
that from
EA.
You
don't get diamonds. You don't get diamonds without creating a lot of pressure.
I've seen what they did with Star Wars Battlefront, and I don't want to see it happen again to one of my beloved characters from the MCU.
I'm going to give Jared one more go at it, and then I'll call it.
Yeah, I think you need to talk about legacies here, right? Like, you have the legacy of Eidos Montreal, which is great, and Square Enix is fantastic. I love them. But Eidos in specific has a legacy of bugs, a legacy of underperforming. They are a one-hit wonder. Guardians of the Galaxy was fantastic, but most of their other games have fallen short. Tomb Raider just got destroyed in the cinema because it's no longer going to be produced. They had a falling out. And this is a franchise that has underperformed, and part of that was the latest games weren't great. They were subpar. But you look at Respawn and it's hard to find a miss for them. Sure, Medal of Honor was subpar, but if you look at everything else on the list, it's killer. Titanfall is still played to this day. The servers still tend to be overpopulated. Apex is there, and we're playing it all the time. And so if you want to look at legacies, look at one that continues to perform.
All right. So I think Cicero made enough of an argument to bring this to a three-way tie to the blind fight. I like the kind of legacy that he brought with just the hand-to-hand combat, and Black Panther needs that. So I liked your argument. Jared, we are only one Tomb Raider removed from two brilliant games, and that is Tomb Raider 2013, part of my top 5 of all time, and Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Judgment. Those games did not click with me.
Really? Yeah. The first two? No?
I thought they were cool remakes, but...
Well, not remakes. They're brand new experiences.
Reimagining, sure.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I felt like, I'm trying to think of the way to compare this. There were so many loot your parts, break the junk to upgrade your bits.
Right.
That sort of thing that it felt a little repetitive to me. I do love Tomb Raider. I do love the IP, but full disclosure, this is not a game I talk about everybody with. I thought did not click with everybody, but I will say this, Mike, I'm glad you like those games.
2013's Tomb Raider reboot is one of my top 5 games of all time. I love it.
I do agree, Jared, that there was in that first game, there was a lot of build up to that first kill, right? Mm-hmm. There was a lot of, her struggling and you really trying to, going through these really cool kind of, almost Uncharted-esque quick time events.
Right.
And then you get to the first kill and she's like, oh my gosh, I've killed someone, this was rough. And then she murders the entire island, right? And during the time where she's just going on this homicidal rampage, it does get very samey, right? It is very kind of do the thing, break down the stuff to create the other stuff so you can do more killing, right? But in that way, it's very Uncharted, right?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
it is Uncharted in that way, and I love those games, right? Those games are a lot of fun. And I felt like Tomb Raider did a great job of doing that. Plus giving you some like actual history, and the tombs were awesome.
I would say, the level design, the character design, the writing, all that was spectacular. My only complaint was gameplay issues. I thought QTEs were way overplayed at that point, and I was tired of the go run this tomb 6 times to find the one piece that you missed because you can't upgrade your bow or whatever.
Right.
I missed my mark apparently because I totally forgot to mention Championship Manager, and that's it.
that would have made all the difference.
All right, blind fight, guys. So the blind fight. I have created a question inspired by none other than our guest here, Jarrett. So, Jarrett streams on Twitch for the Infinity Bros. We'll have those links down there. And for a while there, he was streaming Elden Ring. And his I was watching him a lot, when he was doing that. And his sort of like gang, his posse there were the Pumpkin Lords. And the Pumpkin Lords, they were called that because their helmets were pumpkins. Just huge pumpkins. So the blind fight is inspired by this. And because we're running short on time, you have only one opening argument.
Wow. Let's go.
No rebuttals.
That's it? No rebuttals.
No rebuttals.
So it's just, you just make your case.
Yeah, just make your case.
Okay. Make your case. Okay.
What food would make the best helmet in a video game? You cannot use a pumpkin, and you cannot use things that are already hard-shelled in nature. So, like a coconut. Like, don't use a coconut. Try to be a little creative. What potentially could make the best helmet? Cicero, you won that debate, so you are first here.
First to go or first to choose?
First to choose. Who is their opening argument?
Let's go with the guest, Jarrett.
All right, Jarrett first.
Pick your food.
So I don't know if you guys know what this is, but there is a fruit found in Southeast Asia called a lychee.
Oh gosh,
I love these things.
Really?
And I used to eat so I spent some time down in Vietnam, and I taught there for a summer, and I would just eat these right off the tree, and it was wild. Anyways, they're such an iconic shape to them, and that sort of I don't know how to describe the exterior other than punchy, and it's got the little bulbs on it. And I think you look at that, and if you were to see somebody come running out with that helmet with all the bumps and the little stem on the back, it's pretty intimidating looking. I think it's a cool looking fruit.
Anything more? This is your only argument. Why would it be a good helmet? Come on.
Because it's delicious. I don't know.
Because it's delicious.
I'm floundering. Mike, save me.
I can't. I'm the judge. I can't argue for you.
All right. Here's my argument. Look at this thing and tell me that wouldn't look BA as a helmet.
How do you spell it?
Lychee.
Okay. I see it. Okay. All right. Listeners, maybe Joe, if you're listening, maybe put a picture up there for listeners. Cicero, who's next?
Next up is duck, man. You can't pick a duck.
I cannot. Well, you can eat duck, so I guess I could pick a duck, but it would.
Would you? Is that cannibalism?
It would be cannibalism in that case. Yeah. So
you're not eating it; you're just wearing it.
Yeah. Technically, it's like a Marowak, the Pokemon. It wears its mama's shell. No
cute,
hard
man.
shell. You said right? No hard shell.
Yeah. Try to stay away from hard shell.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go with the potato. The potato, gigantic form potato.
Okay. So it's got to be a helmet. It's got
right.
Listeners, use some imagination. It's got to be a helmet, guys.
Yes, this is going to be a gigantic
by the way,
potato.
these lychees are very small. So Jared's putting a bunch of them together. Okay, there we go.
So this potato is rather large, obviously, and it has eye holes and a mouth hole, and that's it. You do not need anything else. The fact of it being durable is a big part of it. So you're able to fall down, get hit, whatever situation comes your way, you're getting smacked, you have some cushion. And not only that, it lasts a pretty penny in time. So that way, if you ever do get hungry, it's still good to eat. You can still heat that up and mash them, boil them, stick them in a stew. You could do whatever you'd like to do. That's a callback to Lord of the Rings fans if you're watching. Well, it's coming. I feel like this potato helmet not only looks hilarious coming around the corner, but also has a lot of benefits. And I'm done.
Cicero, what food?
That was a minute?
No, I was in quick time, and you just have you only have one opening statement.
All right, yeah. So this
no rebuttals.
This is the argument.
I can
the
time
definitive food. The definitive food for your helmet, for your food helmet, is the lasagna, right? I mean, why could it not be? Why could it not be? Right? You've got, listen, what do you want? What do you want in your food? You want protection.
What did they do to those tacos?
Just run into a wall.
No rebuttals. No rebuttals.
Sorry. No, please go.
What do you want? What do you want in your food? Right? Or in your helmets, you want protection. And how are you getting protection? You add layers. And what has more layers than lasagna?
Onions.
Right? And you've got meat that is blocking. Right. You've got meat that's blocking everything. You've got the noodles that will deflect things as they are coming by, and if anything gets through those noodles, you have multiple layers of cheese. And here's the best part. The best part about the lasagna helmet is your enemies will be fooled by the tomato sauce. So if they hit you and stuff flies out, it's not you. It's not your insides. It's the insides of your lasagna helmet. Lasagna helmets for everyone. Listen, you guys are going to see this African American Friday at Amazon. The lasagna helmet will be the #1 Christmas item. Take it. I'm
already pre-ordering. Also, I realized I fully misunderstood this test you might.
No, I normally put onions in my lasagna, so that would add even more layers to your layers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Layers.
Yeah, lots of layers.
Peppers.
All right. Cicero is our winner this week, and it was.
How could you not?
It was Justin up until Cicero mentioned the diversion tactic with the red sauce. Diverting them to be the red blood. I thought it was funny, unique. Jarrett, you misunderstood the question, but that's okay because we got to move on to leaderboard. Cicero is our winner this week.
If anyone's listening and doesn't agree with the adjudicator,
That's right.
Twitter.
There you go.
Twitter. Thank
go
you.
to Twitter.
Okay,
right.
Justin, I will 100% give you that yours is a lot more practical as a helmet. Your argument was not as good, though.
If Cicero gets hit with something, the lasagna he's going to die.
No, I know, but his argument was good. Okay, his argument. All right.
I got layers of meat and cheese and onions.
That's brilliant. That's so good.
All right.
I can't fight that, man.
we are heading on to our leaderboard section, and we're getting away from video games just to kind of celebrate that Jarrett is finally on the podcast. And so he is part of the Infinity Bros, the definitive podcast, at least for me, for MCU theories and thoughts and stuff on those movies and those series. So we're going to do a top 6 MCU movies and series. So name your top 2. Okay. And we will go from there. Jarrett, you are our guest. You start off. What's your top 2 MCU movies series?
So number 1 has to be Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This movie is a pulse pounder from start to finish. It was so different for its time. People began to see the MCU as sort of, a kid's thing, and I think it still has a bit of that reputation. Obviously, Sam Raimi completely murdered that in recent history. But I think Captain America: The Winter Soldier really changed that perception. One of the best choreographed fight scenes in any movie ever is the fight between him and Bucky originally, and it's one of those that like has such rewatchability. I go back and watch it all the time, and it's just an incredible movie. Number 2 for me, and this again might be recency bias because ask me in 5 minutes, it'll change. But my wife and I have been watching a lot of Kim's Convenience, and Simu Liu is honestly one of the most underrated actors of all time. So I gotta give it to Shang-Chi. Like that, oh my gosh, I love that movie.
Good. I love Shang-Chi.
It pays respect to all of the like classic kung fu movies. Has an all-star cast. Like just really blew it out of the water.
All right, Justin, go ahead.
So, what can you say about the MCU without starting from the beginning? And that's Iron Man, 2008. One of the first movies I saw in theaters, starting this amazing love for the MCU. Fantastic. Robert Downey Jr. at his best. And then we've got the newest show that really blew my mind, Moon Knight. Brand new Disney Plus show came out, 6 episodes long, and amazing storytelling. Amazing fisticuffs, just like Shang-Chi. I feel like it's got those elements that make a great show. They really pack it in, but it's really strong when it hits.
I really, really enjoyed Moon Knight myself. Cicero, your top 2.
Oh man, I forgot we could include series.
Yeah.
There are so many choices here. I'm gonna cheat with my choice by saying Captain America: Civil War, because it has everybody in it, right? It's got Black Panther and Spider-Man and Ant-Man, and it's got everyone in it, and it's fantastic. And at this point, you can't tell me who. Are you Team Cap or are you Team Iron Man? Right? Like,
I
are you
love
Team
Civil
Tony?
War.
That fight was fantastic too.
Man, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Right. And then Mr. Stark was like, "Hey, Underoos," and I. So and then when you said MCU series, I gotta go Daredevil, Netflix Daredevil.
Good stuff.
Because, it was the first. So, it was the first Netflix show in this new Marvel thing that we weren't really sure what was going to be happening. And at that point, the MCU was just movies and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? And then not only did we add a new element of the MCU with Daredevil, but we also added a new element of maturity to the MCU, and phenomenal performances, right? Holy crap. So I'm going Civil War, Daredevil, and I apologize, Mike, because I probably sniped you.
I think the only other show that was before that was like Agent Carter. I think
no, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was before.
Well, other than what he mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Agent Carter.
Agent Carter was in the middle of the Netflix ones. It was kind of simultaneously with those.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Jared could probably correct me.
That's right.
It's like 2015-ish. That's when they all started. A lot of them.
Yeah. So yes, I would be remiss if Daredevil wasn't at least said. So I would have said it. Okay. He's my favorite superhero of all time. Right. I would have said it. Yeah, so
sorry.
No problem for taking it. So then I have to go with what I believe is and potentially I still have to decide between these two, because for me, Avengers Endgame is the greatest superhero movie of all time for me, because I think for something to land as perfectly as it did with 10 years of things that it had to land upon. I mean, I just can't. It's just so good.
Perfect storm for sure.
And then maybe recency bias, but No Way Home, guys. No Way Home was so freaking good.
Yeah.
And
those are the two crybabies.
It is, in my opinion, the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time. It is just, it's got so many of the amazing things that we love about movies and just things in general, just wrapped up in one clean bow, and I loved it. So,
well, that means I'm gonna have to fight for Endgame for sure.
Some of the best like acting from William Dafoe ever.
Oh, William Dafoe, like, oh man, so good. All right, Jared, your must-have.
Yeah, I didn't realize series were on the table, so I'm gonna throw Moon Knight up there. Got to rep the brand.
Ooh, he makes the
okay,
rules.
so he's stealing Moon Knight from
Have to.
Justin. All right, Justin, what's your must-have?
I feel honored that Jared just picked from my list as his must-have. So I'm going to return the favor.
He is a Moon Knight stan.
I'm going to return the favor and go with Winter Soldier because I feel like that fight scene did make for amazing movie.
That movie in general.
Yeah.
All right.
Cicero, your must-have.
So Mike, I picked Mike's favorite character. Mike picked my favorite. Yeah. Mike picked my favorite character, so I'm going to go No Way Home. Snipe off your list.
All right. Ooh. I'm going Daredevil.
Oh, there we go. Set it up.
All right, so we need two more. Hats in for Endgame,
right? Oh, what about Iron Man though? It's like the first.
So I'm in the camp of Iron Man, Shang-Chi.
I really want Endgame though. I'm like Iron Man Endgame over here. Because I feel like
the argument for Iron Man Endgame, I think I was just about to say that. I think that is the argument. We got the beginning
and the end
of that first saga.
Yes. Yeah.
Thoughts, Jared?
I have strong feelings about Shang-Chi.
As do I.
Shang-Chi's so good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it arguably a lot more than Iron Man. I think the rewatchability is there, but it's hard to like look at Iron Man and say that wasn't like a earth-changing event for all of us.
Absolutely, 100%.
I think no matter what we go with, Endgame has to be up there because it was a cultural phenomenon. And then Shang-Chi, Iron Man, take your pick.
Okay.
I am willing to be swayed. I like your, the beginning and the end.
Yeah, the Alpha and the Omega. Like,
yes, I get it.
That would be God.
But I am
right.
like-minded with Jarrett, with respect to Shang-Chi.
But like, where would Shang-Chi wouldn't be there if Iron Man never started?
Okay.
All
right. Really you guys broke the rules by picking from other people's lists.
Don't blame me.
I'm gonna break the rules. And we're going top 7. Shang-Chi is
look
on
at
there.
That. Let's go.
You get a list, and you get a list, right?
Everybody gets a list.
All right.
Love that.
Listeners, our top 7 MCU movie/series in no particular order: Moon Knight, Winter Soldier, No Way Home, Daredevil, Iron Man, Endgame, and Shang-Chi. This has been Test Your Might 82. Jarrett, did you have fun on the cast?
Yeah, man, this is a blast. I have been coughing my guts out, fever dreaming for weeks, and I'm glad I survived long enough to test my might.
Thank you for having the guts not only to answer those questions but to COVID through this episode. So I really appreciate it. Hey, plug some stuff really quick. What you got going over there on the Infinity Bros?
So check out the Infinity Bros, obviously, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. If you get the itch to Twitch, check us out over there. It's _Infinity_Bros. Check us out on Twitter. We do have our own website, which we have been kind of neglecting on updating articles, but we got a few in there. Just check us out on any of the social medias. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. And if you like what you see, go ahead and let us know. Join the community. We do have a Discord. I can send Mike the link for that. And we really are about the universes that are created through these experiences and the friendships that we've made. Obviously, that's how we got in touch with Mike. So more than anything, if I can point you one direction, hop on our Discord where we can have some good conversation.
Yeah, their Discord is one of the few that I'm a part of, and so definitely check it out. We'll have those links down below, listeners. Again, if you would like, please leave us a review. We would really appreciate it. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like button. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. For Cicero, for Justin, for Jarrett, my name is Mike. This has been Test Your Might 82, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.